In this age of NFTs and buying art and other such things, a lot of people seem to not understand how copyright law and intellectual property actually works. And it seems that there's been a few people who have learned that lesson the hard way through a recent purchase that they made. Some buffoons bought a Dune book and mistakenly thought that they owned the IP, which is that's incredible. More like just, oh, I'm not interested in your jibes. One of my favourite documentaries of all time is Jodorowsky's Dune, about the failed attempt by Alejandro Jodorowsky to adapt Dune. Some of the lookbooks from that movie have been floating around Hollywood. One recently went to auction. The assumption is that it would fetch 30,000 to 40,000, a high price, but a fair one for Hollywood history. What happened next was unpredictable. The bidding began and the price soared, fetching close to 3 million. Were these just rabid Jodorowsky fans? No, they were an ether-backed collective known as the Spice DAO, and they had one goal for this purchase: to make their own Dune. They tweeted their goals out with a plan for how to tackle this idea. We won the auction for 2.66 million. Now our mission is to make the book public to the extent permitted by law, produce an original animated limited series inspired by the book and sell it to a streaming service, and free support derivative, there we go, projects from the community. Because that's how it works, isn't it? Here's the main problem. They can't do that. It's owning an expensive book means only that. You have the book. The rights to Dune lie with Warner Brothers, who are deep in creating its own Dune franchise, and the studio would sue them into oblivion if they tried to circumvent that. The gap in knowledge and understanding here is astounding. There were some good intentions behind the idea. The collective wants to make the lookbook free online for people to check out, which is nice, that's fine. But if they stopped to Google that idea, they'd learn that most, if not all, of the book is online already and free. You can look at it on Open Culture right now. While it's not totally complete, it's still free. I admire the effort into making knowledge free for all, but only if real effort is made to understand the rights behind those things and the already available material. It would be easy to continue dunking on these people, but instead I'll address anyone or any collective with this much money. Change is not something you can buy. It takes action, forethought, and leadership. If you really want to disrupt a network or pathway, you have to find a new way in, not buy yourself in. Buy yourself, blah. I think he's meant to say, not buy yourself in through an old way. Use your cash to fund creatives and original ideas. Build out a studio that makes money, and then make more things. You could decentralize pitching and diversify Hollywood in so many ways. But if you want to ignore all that and buy some big intellectual property, let me know. I've got an original copy of Harry Potter from 1997 to sell you. I don't understand, like, surely there was an accountant or a lawyer or something like that that told them this. Hey, by the way, that's that's not how it works. it's like see if I bought an original edition of The Hobbit that was signed by Tolkien himself, right? Now that would cost a huge amount of money, which if I had it, I would absolutely fucking buy it. But just because I bought that book doesn't mean. Oh yeah, sure. So sorry, Peter. Sorry, Peter. Sorry, everyone. I know. Oh, Lord of the Rings. Like that's not how it works. It's a case of I could go down to Waterstones just down the road and start buying up a bunch of books. It doesn't mean that I then immediately own the IP to everything that's in the book. Right? Oh yeah, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make a movie. I'm gonna make a fucking movie. Went down, bought The Witcher. Hello Netflix. Why are you why are you infringing on my copyright? Like, oh my god. How how do you not know that? How do you not know that? Buying a book isn't buying the IP. Like, You talk to the original IP owners and then you negotiate for rights to things like movies, imagery, lore, and stuff like that if you want to make a series or music or art or anything like that. Like, even people that want to just make like posters of Marvel characters have to fucking pay Marvel money. You know that, like, that's why did nobody tell them? How did they not know? But I mean, holy shit, man, 2.66 million. That's a fucking expensive mistake. But I mean, I hope the book's good.